100%.
General Podcast. My name's Alison. Okay. Welcome everyone to the General Football Podcast. My name is Alex Thomas.
I'm Dustin Rubio.
I'm Emmanuel Iwara.
Welcome to the very first episode. This is the name just says it all. A podcast all about just speaking about football in general. It's something we're quite excited about because this is just our normal day-to-day conversation, and we just thought we'd put our thoughts out there and see what people think. Controversial. Sometimes we make sense, sometimes not, but
sometimes we agree. Most of the time we don't.
Yeah, most of the time we actually disagree because we're very biased with our teams and sometimes our opinions. But hey, I think we all have a bit of biasness about just whoever we support. So here's a little information about us. My name is Alex. I am a Swansea City supporter, follower, lover, and a Real Madrid follower. So you, Dustin?
Yep. So I support the Swans as well, Championship's finest, and I support Barcelona. Have been for a long time, and I'm enjoying the Premier League. Not supporting anybody, but enjoying some good football.
Yep.
I support I would say the best club in the world, which is
Swansea.
Arsenal.
Hey.
Arsenal. Then other team will be Bayern. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Mighty Gunners, and I was like, there's nothing mighty about them.
I hate on Arsenal.
You're mightiest.
We're going to go back there. He is somebody to watch, though. He is somebody to watch.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about football in general. I think the first topic today is what's happening right now. We just hit the international break, which is the most depressing time as a club football fan. No one likes it. I don't care if it's the Euro qualification. Good luck Wales, but I miss the Swans.
Yeah.
So I don't care for international break. So at the moment, Premier League, Liverpool have just taken an 8-point gap thanks to Wolves causing quite a shock.
Yep.
A 2-0 win. Adama Traore. Bits for them.
Killed them.
Man City got some big issues in defence.
Yeah.
So that's,
I think they were probably looking forward to this international break probably more than anybody.
No, Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham as well. Yeah.
And then Man U, Tottenham.
Actually, probably half the league, if not most.
the thing is, like, you think of those three clubs, they used to be so mighty, and all of a sudden they're just like excited just to not.
It used to be so mighty. Sorry, when was Tottenham ever mighty?
Okay, well they got Champions League final last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's the furthest Arsenal have ever been, so you can't really say anything. So exactly,
and
they've done as much as you have in the past 20 years.
I beg your pardon?
Exactly.
What is exactly? I beg your pardon. Tottenham has done what?
They made it to the Champions League final.
They made,
Last
that's what I'm
season.
saying. They made it to the Champions League, and they have done in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Well,
I beg your
10
pardon?
10 years.
No.
Yeah.
Like
Because of how many FA Cups in the last 10 years.
I wouldn't even count FA Cups an achievement.
I beg your
Yeah.
pardon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Swansea has won it how many times?
Well, why are you bringing Swansea?
But that's what I'm saying. Swansea is the only team
How
that
about
could
we
win
bring
it.
this?
Then.
Let's bring in some random Saudi Arabian team. If you're gonna do that, you're not
Swansea is the
hurting
only team
anybody's
there that
feelings.
could
Since when can
be.
Swans invest 50 million into a player?
Yeah, for real.
Or 70 million on a
We
random
can at least,
winger
and we
at
can
the
say we won a cup in a
moment.
tournament.
League Cup. We won the League Cup.
And in a tournament full of teams that we probably were not the favorites to win.
Still, and Arsenal was the favorite to win. How many of those times we played against Chelsea?
Easily,
We
I
played
think. I think an
We
easy
played
thing to
against Chelsea in
say.
the finals.
We played Chelsea and Sammy's 2 legs.
I mean finals.
Yeah.
We played against Chelsea
Yeah.
in the finals. So we played against.
And we've done the double over Arsenal.
And United.
Yeah.
When they were actually mighty.
Yeah.
When they were actually a good
And
team.
that's
So
when
anyways,
the last years of Arsene
think-
Wenger.
I think
Anybody
the
could do this
easy
double
thing to
over
say-
Arsenal there.
The easy thing to say as far as now
That's-
is
yeah.
Arsenal is underachieving. And
Obviously.
Tottenham is probably overachieved for their budget and what
Last
they
season
have.
they overachieved.
Yeah. Oh,
Definitely.
easily. Yeah.
But this season I feel like it's
For the
just right. This is like they want
I
seven.
think it's even worse. I
What
think
do you
it's a train wreck. In comparison, like if you look at Tottenham in the last, let's say 3 seasons, even 4, they were building momentum. And I remember saying this to a friend of mine who's a big Tottenham fan, a couple 2 years ago, and I said that was probably your best season. I think things would start to fall apart, and I think you started to see Kane. People figured him out. You just put big bodies on him. I mean, he's running out of things to do. He doesn't really have the pace. If he doesn't have the room to do much, it's just. I think their best attack is Lucas Moura and Son. I think Son's the best player easily. I think a lot more people are starting to say that now. But I think for them, you're starting to see that the wheels are falling off. That's probably the best Pochettino can get out of them. Great, a really, really good manager, but that's the best he can probably get out of them. And I think their best thing is to sell Kane now, while they can.
I think that...
I don't think they can sell him anymore for what they've gotten for him in the past 2 years.
They probably can't because the value on him that they'll put on him is going to be too ridiculous.
Not even the value they put on him. I feel he is, from what you've said, they figured him out. What team would he go to? Would he go to Bayern?
The thing is,
in the German league, as well, the defenders there are better.
I'd say he's a Lewandowski.
No, I was gonna say that's not a bad shout actually.
That's where he would go. That's
not a bad shout.
But the reason they wouldn't sign him is because English players are so overpriced now.
Yeah, I think they overvalue him.
I can just see Daniel Levy just being like, we want 200 million for Kane. Even though he's not worth it.
Aren't other leagues overpriced too? I mean,
the what?
People overpriced. Aren't other leagues with players overpriced?
I'd say a lot of people are overpriced, but it's English. I would say at the most overpriced.
Yeah, I don't think the German
league. You mean buying English players? Definitely.
And if anything, German league probably isn't there yet. Obviously, I think you can't say with the French league, but PSG will spend anything on a player. And I think with Spain, you have, with 2 teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they'll spend whatever to get players. But I don't think the German league, any team, Dortmund or Bayern Munich, like what's the most? Like they didn't even pay for Rodriguez. They just got him on loan.
Bayern will usually just buy Dortmund players.
Or they get people on loan.
Yeah.
Coutinho, Rodriguez, like they've gotten some really good players.
I wonder who their agents are pulling off those loan deals. James and
But speaking of like the Bundesliga, those two are quite underperforming, Dortmund and Bayern Munich at the moment.
Yes.
Like Champions League, Bayern great.
Killing,
Bayern great. Dortmund are doing okay.
I would look at their table.
Amazing. But like in first, like Bayern third.
In third.
Are they?
Yeah.
Third place.
And seventh, Dortmund seventh. Eighth place.
Eighth.
Wow.
So you have first is Borussia Mönchengladbach and then second Wolfsburg.
Change.
But with the Bundesliga, it's very predictable because Bayern usually have this sort of start. They usually have half a season of like,
letting the other teams know.
We're like, third, we're in third.
It's like, no, it's close then.
And it's literally, it's like they're just getting people's hopes up, and then you just go, you know what, Lewandowski, go on, you let loose and just score all you want.
But Kane can't replace Lewandowski.
I think that's one thing Bayern will do is struggle to replace Lewandowski. But just looking into other leagues as well, like there's some clubs that we always look at. Like lately, I've been watching quite a lot of Juventus. Like I feel like because I think ever since Ronaldo joined Juventus, he's made Juventus almost like a must-watch team now. Not because they play amazing football or he's smashing goals left, right, and centre. It's more of like his brand has just made them a must-watch team. They're topped by 1 point at the moment and then Inter Milan, who is slowly rising back up.
Atalanta.
I tell you what, he's been a great coach, Antonio Conte. Like I think that was the right move for him leaving Chelsea.
Definitely. I think he was not appreciated at Chelsea, but which manager has ever appreciated Chelsea? Except for Lampard, I guess.
Yeah, but speaking of Chelsea, they're doing really well at the moment.
They're playing amazing football.
Like. When I think of Chelsea, you just look at how young each player is. I think their oldest player is either, is it Kante? Would you say? Azpilicueta, and he's what, 29, 30? He's not old. He's not that old.
Yeah, they're in their 20s. If you have a player, your oldest player is in his 20s still, even in the late 20s.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, and you have like people who were in the Championship last season. You have Tammy Abraham, who's at Aston Villa last season, and now he's the joint top scorer. Mason Mount, who's at Derby with Lampard, which I think has benefited him quite a lot. And the centre back Tomori, who is doing really well at the moment. And even right now, I'd say Emerson, their left back, is doing okay. Kante hasn't had that many appearances. But I feel like that's a good thing in some way. Because I feel like it gives hunger for Kante. Because I always compared the Kante situation at Chelsea of Aguero and Pep. When Aguero was benched, it just made him more hungry just to come on and prove himself a bit more. So I feel like when Kante comes on now at Chelsea, he wants to score or he wants to just be that guy who just breaks up play all the time.
I hope he can improve, not supporting Chelsea, but I hope he could. I like him.
Yeah, he is a good player. And they still have...
I get it under Sarri that like Jorginho was his guy.
What?
I get when managers they bring somebody over and they're like, this is the guy. But with Lampard, who's always had his eye on the league he's always been in, which was the Premier League for the most part.
Yeah.
I would have thought he would have said this was the problem with Chelsea last season was Conte not being in there and Jorginho being favored. I would have thought right out the gate Conte.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if there's injuries or there's certain things we're just not aware of that they haven't made.
Or maybe he just found him to be more versatile. He has a lot of energy though.
And the thing is,
as a box to box, he could run the whole field. Conte.
Yeah, no,
so you can use him as a box to box and just put. Jorginho isn't really a mover. He just passes the ball.
Yeah.
But you have to give it to Jorginho is a good passer with the ball.
Yeah.
I just think at a CDM
But he does.
sort of
I've never seen him with range though. Like flinging the passes.
But he's good at like through balls, but not like those long through balls that you usually see. I think that's the issue. But like with Chelsea, they still have so many options. Like they still have like that Pulisic that they bought from Dortmund in January, who looks quite decent. You have Hudson-Odoi who started playing now, and he's got a couple of assists now. Batshuayi is still there.
You know who's there, and probably their oldest player, Pedro.
Pedro, yeah,
forgot about him. He's got to be 30, 31.
Yeah,
Pedro, if not older.
32.
He's got to be something like that. Yeah. But see, he's a good veteran. You put on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If like Mount or somebody just they're just tired, they've been running.
Yeah.
You put on Pedro, he's a crafty veteran.
Yeah.
He'll find a goal, he'll find a pass, he'll get problems.
He runs everything.
Yes, for
the
real.
energy on him.
Yeah.
You see, with the whole Chelsea team, they have runners.
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah, and Willian, you're right. Willian, I really like Willian, and
He's probably going to this season.
Like, it's crazy to think as a Swans fan when we think about Tammy Abraham, because when he was at the Swans, he was absolutely garbage. But you made a good point yesterday though, because there wasn't much creativity at Swansea. It's the service he's getting.
Yeah,
well, you could also see the way he was finishing, and he's like, "There's something here."
I think for me that watched a lot of the games when he. Pretty much all the games when he was playing with Swans, like I always had this kind of running joke I did, and I remember putting on a meme that when I thought of Tammy Abraham, I always thought of him like this, and it wasn't because they weren't giving him service. It was because he missed a lot of open shots. He missed chances, and it wasn't. Yeah, the service was terrible, or wasn't what he's probably getting now. Yeah. It wasn't available. But I think that whole classic Tammy Abraham was, and that's why when he came up, I thought he's a championship player at best. And I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. And I think he is, he's finding the net. And it's like, what do you say? And he's still missing some chances.
No, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's that whole thing with like even with Sterling, where you're saying he's always up there with goals, and you're thinking, what if he buried all of those chances that he had, and he was one of those
I'm very thankful he doesn't bury all the chances. Sorry, Abraham. He would be.
Yeah.
He would be lethal.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost bonkers.
8 goals already.
It's bonkers to think he's the joint top scorer with Aguero.
That's crazy.
At the moment.
That's crazy.
Like, when you think of Aguero and his level of caliber, you don't think, who's next to him? Tammy Abraham. You don't think that. It's just like, what? Like,
I mean, it's early days, but
and the thing is, he's so young still.
Yeah.
He's so young. I think he's, 23 now? Something like that? 22, 23? It's
who?
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy.
Is he? Because he was 19 when he was with us. How long ago was that?
He's not up to 23.
Is he? Oh, he's only 21.
He was 19
He's not
with
23.
us.
He's about 21 now.
About 21.
Because he was a teenager when he was with us. Yeah, he's.
And how old's
super young.
Hudson-Odoi? 19?
Chelsea team is way too young.
Yeah. Which is good for them. And then you have a young manager. How long, if they stick with him? I know we probably won't see another Ferguson or Wenger, somebody who stays that long. Yeah. But what if they kind of stick with their guy Lampard? I mean, it'd be cool to see them all grow together.
I would think they will stick with him because he's Chelsea. He's like Mr. Chelsea. Other than Drogba.
I don't want to hype him as a manager yet.
22.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I don't want to overhype Lampard as a manager, even though he did great at Derby and he's doing well at Chelsea at the moment. Like, everyone has that first season vibes. Like, everyone has a good first season when you're around a club for a couple of years. Like, it's usually, first season's great, and then you just have a dip in form, then you get sacked. That's how usually Premier League goes.
No issue. Yeah. I mean,
not always, though.
Most of the time. I think fans and I think commentators are very fickle. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of what they did. Even, like, today, probably more than ever. But think of what they did with Ancelotti, with Chelsea fans, with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just very fickle.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. And I think even when you look at, like, with Man City, like, I would say it's nothing to do with Guardiola. Obviously, everybody, when you play every week, you make mistakes as a player. You make mistakes as a manager. But I would say even for them, with their injuries, it's like, all it takes is something like that, and they wouldn't have predicted that form, the loss of form. And then, with Lampard and these guys in Chelsea, you just don't know in the next couple months, like they could have a lineup. Because I know they've had some success against the lower teams, but as they go into some of the bigger teams, how are they going to perform? What if the injuries as well? Because we're talking about just into the season, and you're thinking, I never would have predicted Man City to be where they're at now, and Sané as well. Sané's a big miss. I mean, you got a lot of really good players, like top players that big clubs would love to have, and you have all those injuries, and nobody would have predicted that.
So moving on from the Premier League, we've only got one more squad. I'm not going to include France because we all know who's top there. PSG, obviously. Spain, Real Madrid are reigning at the top at the moment. Not by 2 points. Barcelona now just behind on 16 points.
That's crazy.
And Atletico. So it's the usual three. But obviously we have a shock package in the 4th place in Granada, which is a bit weird.
Surprising. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah, it's great for them, but when you think Spain top 4, you usually think of Valencia or Sevilla there, but you don't think Granada, maybe even Real Sociedad, you think, or something like that. But the fair play to them, I think Spanish teams are underperforming in the Champions League at the moment. I would say Barca are underperforming.
Yeah, well, I mean,
even though they've got 4 points.
Yeah, but and
Dortmund and Inter, which is 2 big games.
Yeah, they rushed Messi to come back, or he probably rushed himself to come back for that. That was his first game he played all season.
Yeah,
was the Champions League game, and then even in his first league match, he got injured and he had to go off. It was somewhat quick, so I think he's rushing to come back.
They needed him though.
Yeah, and even in the league. Suarez didn't play the first couple games. Messi obviously wasn't playing.
It was very much down to Griezmann, wasn't it? Quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think there's not a lot of chemistry. He's playing in a team that it's a lot of pass move sort of stuff, and I know a lot of football is that, but I think it's a different kind of style of football. I think
they still got a new talent, quite a lot coming in, because obviously you have that youngster Fati who's done quite well.
Yeah.
You still have Frankie De Jong who's still adjusting from Ajax. Obviously Griezmann just came from 110 million or something like that. So and then I think he played. So who did you play striker with Griezmann? I can't remember. I think it was another youngster. I think.
One game it was. Who did we play? I might have been Griezmann playing as striker. We have a Perez kid, and then we have Puig. I think his name is.
Oh yeah.
Puig. Everybody's going.
Puig. Yeah,
Puig. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has been talking about that kid in Barcelona. Like they're like he's the truth. But
I feel like the non-Spanish people talk about him because like he has that potential on FIFA. Just really
does he?
Yeah, because every time I play FIFA, he always comes up with those future wonder kids on Korea mode.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's why people talk about it. But now I see him play, like 88 overall coming up.
Yeah.
But
no, Barca,
it's good to see him play because
fans are really excited about him.
See, I'm not saying Griezmann is a bad striker, but I don't think he's Barca good.
I wouldn't want to.
I don't think he's Barca good.
I didn't want him.
For me,
do you know who I would say would fit in Barca? I think Lacazette would fit in Barca. Possibly. With the way he plays, the whole of his movements.
I wanted Neymar.
Every Barca fan wants because
Neymar.
of MSN and previous.
Yeah, and I think we could have got a different Neymar than you could see. You know what I'm saying? I think.
But he was really good with Messi and Suarez were really good with him. It's like a younger brother to them.
Yeah, and I think that's what he would need. I think him going away was kind of. I want to be the big man, but there's a lot of immaturity in him. I think as a person, but I think with Messi, kind of big brothers, I think is good for him. And maybe he's realized I'm not good with that responsibility because he's not young anymore. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How old is he? 27?
Yeah. And then you got the guy who's like the leader of that team. Obviously Cavani was there, but I mean, look at Mbappe. He's young, super young. But I think if anything for Barcelona, I didn't want Griezmann. I'm glad we got him in the end. Than not having anybody, having that extra case of injuries and stuff. Oh, but I think Dembele is a beast as well. I do like him. But I would have gotten rid of Rakitic, Dembele. Not Semedo. They wanted Semedo, but I would have got rid of those two and someone else.
Really? Really?
Yeah, I would have. I mean, he's really good, but I think in the next few years, I think we have other people that are coming in that could take that position. And I like him. Arthur, the truth.
I think
he is so good.
I think
He is good.
Atletico had the better deal when it came to the Griezmann thing because they signed João Felix over.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had money to give to the side.
I don't get it because I saw loads of tweets yesterday because I was actually looking into João Felix. I was just like, how well is he doing? Because every time I look at like Atletico scores, he seems to be involved in some sort of way, either an assist or a goal. But people say he's underperforming. I'm just like, he's 19. I'm just like, I think people are expecting
underperforming
because that price tag. People are like, oh, he has to perform. I'm like, you got the expectation of Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi on João Felix, which I don't think that's his style. I think he's very much like, listen, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm scoring, I'm assisting.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great player. I've watched a few games of Atletico now, which is... But yeah, I think they definitely got a better deal, Atletico. And
I mean, they got Trippier.
That was such a random
I know, for real. But good for him, he's doing good. Yeah. He's doing pretty good.
I'm surprised. I was surprised that he got him.
When I saw that went through, I was just like, that just sounds like a FIFA 19 transfer.
For real, right?
Literally. I feel like Diego Simeone just went, you know what do I see often on FIFA? I was like,
I need that pace.
I was like, you know what, his crossing's great.
Well, fair play to him.
He's adjusted quite well.
Yeah.
I feel like they have an underrated squad. They always do under the radar.
They always have an underrated squad.
I think they'll make noise, a lot of noise. I think in the Champions League. Yeah. I think they have a really good squad. They're always organized, defensively, and Costa's always a handful. He will score goals. He will get you sent off. That's
one of my favorite.
And Morata isn't doing bad either. You know what I'm saying? I hate that when certain players go to like certain Premier League teams and people don't shine. We had a little conversation about like Di Maria, all the players that Man United kind of ruined, and you know Chelsea. What I'm saying? And I feel like with Chelsea too, Cuadrado, I felt like a lot of people didn't really get to see how good he was. De Bruyne, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like with Morata, I feel like it's good to see him because he was a beast before he went over there.
Juve.
Yeah, Juve. I think even with Real Madrid when he got some playing time. I think
that's quite a nice segue into the Champions League. I think that it's been quite a decent competition so far. Some really good games so far. But I guess who do we think's winning the Champions League this year? Bayern?
I think so.
I think
they have this thing about them this season.
Like looking at them, their squad is quite complete. I think there is no weakness in Bayern. Looking at them, midfield is their weak point. Maybe.
Yeah, kind of midfield.
Yeah, I would disagree only because listen, they're not even. There's obviously some weaknesses because they're not even top of their league. Somebody's taking points off them, and I think. But it's mostly going off of one really good performance. You know what I'm saying?
Not just the one performance.
But what other performance would they have had in the Champions League that we would have been like?
I think I can counteract that point though, because you can go back to Real Madrid winning 3 in a row.
Exactly.
We were awful in the league. But
what do you mean?
Because
when they won the Champions League 3 times.
Bayern performed, not in the league, but they performed.
The Champions League and the very different.
When we won 3 in a row.
Very different.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying even with my point of in the Champions League, there haven't been many games, and I guess if we're just going off of,
the one, not just the one.
What do we think as far as in this early season? I would say.
Who would you say?
I get it. I don't think it's random. I don't think it's crazy. I just think it's one really really good performance, and I think Bayern. In my opinion, we're on a high, and there was obviously rumors with Tottenham, some in the dressing room kind of issues and stuff popping off before. I mean, that obviously is not going to prepare you going into a game.
Well, morale's down and then
yeah. So I get that. That might have been the perfect storm for Bayern Munich to do that. I would say, as much as I would rather someone else, I think Liverpool. I think Liverpool for me. Yeah, I think if they stay healthy, I don't think they have the deepest of benches.
But they have a good team still.
But yeah, I think
Mane.
I think but I think with their front three, I think is good. I think their midfield is good. I think, but again, I'm talking about their starting 11 is just strong. They can probably afford to lose a couple players, maybe. I think Origi's a good one to go in there. I think Shaqiri's a good one to go in there. Ox is a good one to go in there. But I think defensively, they can't afford to lose.
Van
I think we've seen.
Van Dijk.
I think Trent, though. I think Trent and
Oh yeah. Trent and Robertson.
Robertson. Yeah, I think.
If they lose Hendo, the season is over.
Yeah.
Hendo is the glue that holds that team together.
Yeah, for it, right?
I mean, Hendo.
Milner.
Nah, Hendo.
Yeah.
That's that man.
But see, Milner's another one that could probably come in and do something. But I just don't know.
Milner could play striker or keeper if they need him to.
Yeah.
He can put him in any position and he does the job. For some reason, it's like, dude is.
But I think if they stay healthy and don't lose certain players, I think Mane's a key player in my opinion, their best player. I think in my opinion they're the favorites to win.
I think for me at the beginning of the season I would have said Man City. Like at the beginning of the season.
I would have said.
But now since they've had an injury crisis with the defenders and Laporte is out for quite a while and Fernandinho's playing at centre back these days now, it's hard to predict for Man City to do it. Even though I think they've won both their games. I think they won against Dinamo Zagreb and I can't remember the other team, but they've had quite convincing wins when they're in the Champions League, but again, those are small teams. What happens when you have that Fernandinho in defence and you're facing someone like Barcelona?
But he will be back when they will be back then. That's why Champions League is different. It's a different beast to the Premier League because it's not week in, week out. You get this breaks where your players can recover and things like that.
I think for me personally, my prediction is either Barcelona, because I feel like they'll just improve from here on out.
I hope so.
Like, I hate to say it as a Madrid fan, but I feel like Barcelona just guaranteed to improve. They've had two big games in Dortmund and Inter, and they've got 4 points out of 6, which is pretty impressive. And I think maybe even Juventus. Because I'd love to see that Barca Juve final.
That would be good.
Barca winning.
That would be really good. I mean, Juve winning.
You know what scares me though as a Barca fan is what happened at
Liverpool.
At Anfield.
Yeah.
Like what happened mentally, psychologically, like you completely, it was almost as if like even when you got scored on, twice, you didn't even get into, right, let's get serious, nobody smacking, their teammates being like, come on, focus. It just
every time I think of like them going at the Champions League, I think about like literally a couple months before when Messi addressed the fans saying we're going to win the Champions League this year, and then all of a sudden you're smashed by Origi. I'm just like, oh no,
what happened? But yeah, that
I think this year they'll give him a point to prove. I hope
so.
I think Messi is getting older now, and I think this will be his year just to be like, I have to do this now. Because
I feel like he's getting better. I think he's aged well in his position changing and his game changing. I think his passing, his assist, it's just something to watch.
Yeah,
But
still scoring goals.
You can pass a ball and create an amazing chance, but then the striker.
And Suarez is having a good season as well, and he hasn't played early in the season, and he didn't play the first 2 games, but in the last 2 games, man, he's done it for us.
We just have to have the usual football debate that every fan talks about every now and again. Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. I will start with you, Emmanuel.
I don't like choosing between either of them.
Yeah.
But I want to say Messi, but doesn't mean I'm dissing Ronaldo or anything. Ronaldo is he's a legend. You will never see a player like him again.
Yeah. I think you won't see any of those two again.
Never.
Never. I think I'll go with me. We will just go in order. For me, I'd say Messi. But for me, I would split them into 2 different things. I'd say Ronaldo's the greatest goal scorer of all time. I take away your Pele's because I'm not going to even debate Pele. He's just a fraud.
I would say fraud. Dodgy things,
But with Lionel Messi, it's just like watching him play is just like one of those things. It's an honor to watch Messi play. Every time he's on the pitch, you're just like, I wonder what he's going to do this game. Because even watching the Sevilla game, I was just like, what's he going to do? And then that free kick goes in. I'm like, man, that is just typical Messi.
Yeah.
And the thing is, every time, and the thing is, he doesn't do simple goals. That's the thing I like about Messi. It's either dribbling through like 10 players, or it is just like a beautiful top corner finish. So. Yeah, I think I have to say Messi on this one.
I would say Messi, and this isn't as just a Barca fan, but I think I have really watched So sometimes, like after the game, I would just go and people used to do this with Iniesta, and they would just have highlights of everything Iniesta did because you don't really see him doing a lot. But when you see that, it's amazing. I do it with Arthur as well now. But with Messi, you're seeing all those little things, those little flicks, that little movement where he's just kind of moving, and then you see the defender kind of freak out because they're like, oh, Messi's moving, and they don't really know what to do. It's everything he does. Forget the whole debate of, but he hadn't done anything in the international. Forget that. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't have that just trump over what he's done as a player against the best defenders, like Champions League. Like we talked about yesterday, Boateng ruined him. Ruined him.
Hasn't made the same sense.
Yeah. But I'd say Messi. I would think he's an amazing goal scorer. I'd probably say I wouldn't be mad if there was who's the greatest goal scorer ever and Ronaldo gets it, because I think Ronaldo is just a beast. But I think Messi is an amazing goal scorer, and as he's gotten older, to see him transition into another position because they try to do that with Rooney, and Rooney couldn't do it. He would always kind of freak out, look to the right, give it to Valencia. But Messi, you're seeing him, he's controlling everything. His vision is everything. And you got to keep in mind, he played with Xavi and Iniesta and seeing them, and then now all of a sudden, his passing is crazy.
That's the end of the debate. Messi's just behind Hendo. So, I think we should wrap this up.
So drink every time Hendo's mentioned.
You hydrated like mad. But, thank you everyone for watching, listening. Let us know what you think. Are we right? What do you think? Who's going to win the Champions League this year? Who's been impressive in the Premier League this year for you? Are Liverpool actually running away with it? Are they actually doing it? Are Real Madrid actually going to lift up their form finally?
Are we wrong about Harry Kane? Is Harry Kane?
Is he not overhyped?
And is Hendo the best player ever?
But
let's be clear. We keep saying Hendo. People are like, who's this Hendo?
Jordan Henderson. Liverpool.
But to be fair, if you comment no, you're wrong. Thank you for listening, and we shall see you very soon. See you. Nice.
All right.
Beautiful.